So you all know, if you've been at these events before, these swearing-in events, and many of you have, you know that there's a long oath, and sometimes when I give this swearing-in, I tell the story that there's some interesting language that you're familiar with, Sheriff. You're familiar with it, and that language has to do with fighting a duel with deadly weapons. So I'm just going to tell the story of that so that you'll know, because usually, in fact, at my swearing-in, the story wasn't told, and there were a lot of laughs about a week ago. So at one point in our history in Kentucky, duels were a fairly common practice to defend one's honor. In fact, the great American statesman and Kentucky native Henry Clay, the same man known as the Great Compromiser, fought in 2 duels in the early 19th century. Well, so eventually duels across America became an unacceptable and illegal way to settle disputes, and the Kentucky Constitution was ratified in 1891 to reflect that. But more than 120 years later, or more than 120 years later, that language still stands, and Kentucky remains the only state in the country to include duels in its oath of office. So the pledge you are getting ready to make is still rather special and unique. So Sherelle said it well. This is a special day. This is a unique day. It's an incredibly important day in our city. There's nothing more important in our city than public safety. And the appointment of a new chief, the swearing in of a new chief, is a moment in our history that doesn't come often. So it's a real privilege, it's a great honor, and it's a great privilege for me to ask Chief Mark Barnard to come forth, and as I will deliver the oath. Chief. So I'll ask you to raise your right hand, Mark. I will deliver the oath and then ask you to please respond, I do. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute, to the best of your ability, the office of Police Chief, Lexington Fayette Urban County Government, according to law? And do you further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, that you, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as second in carrying out a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God?
I do.
Chief, congratulations. Now Chief Barnard will have some comments and be available to the press for questions. Chief?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, Mayor Gray. Thanks to my wife and my daughter. My other daughter, Caroline, cannot be here. She's in school in Tennessee. It's truly overwhelming and humbling again. The people that this really should be focused on are the people that are the officers in the room right now, the ones that are working at night. We have a tremendous staff, Chief Compton, Chief Holman, Chief Weathers. Our vision for the agency is to continue moving forward with what we set in place with the foundation. The changes that we make are going to be changes to move forward with what the community wants us to do. I look at the challenges we have in front of us right now. Part of those challenges are recruitment, getting the quality of officers that we want in Lexington, holding the standards that we have, and we'll be asking all the community, not just our agency, not just our government, but every Lexingtonian to reach out, find a quality candidate, put them towards our agency, and let us recruit them, because we have to be reflective of our community. I appreciate the opportunity to lead this agency. It is very humbling, I'll say it again. These are fantastic officers. They do their job in spectacular fashion. And just this weekend, so you know, as the country faces all the challenges against law enforcement, we've had more threats from abroad, even here locally. And this weekend, while a lot of us were sleeping, our officers got out with a robbery suspect with a sawed-off shotgun concealed in his jacket. A lot of you all don't hear it because we don't put it out there, but that's what they're doing every day, sacrificing out there with great discipline, taking care of public safety in our community. And I want to applaud the officers here, the officers that aren't here, and the officers in our agency that work every day that don't get in front of the cameras but are out doing their jobs. And they do fantastic work. So thank you all. I'm appreciative of this opportunity, Mayor Gray. Public safety is the #1 interest for us. We will uphold the standards that you put in front of us. Thank you.
Okay, let's take a few questions.
Chief, are there some specific things you'd like to get done in the first, I don't know, 6 weeks or some weeks of your new post?
I will tell you, we've already started meeting transition-wise. We have, through attrition, we will be filling an assistant chief position, 3 commanders, 5 lieutenants, and 7 sergeants, and we're interviewing every one of those candidates. We want to get them in place. Our calendar is full this year looking at it. We're already strategically looking at what's ahead, the Boys Sweet 16, the NCAAs, Keeneland Spring Meet, 4th of July, Breeders' Cup, All-Tech Horse Show. All those events are coming up. We're already looking at 1 year in advance, so we're trying to play catch-up right now, but we have a good team in place. That's great.
Anybody else? Really? How will your past leadership roles in the department help you in this new role?
Well, I say this, and it's partly because of Chief Baston that was here. We focus on leadership development. We focus on constantly looking at how we can continue our organization and moving it forward. All of us go through a leadership development program, and I think every one of us are prepared for this position when it becomes available. So we look at strategic planning, we look at our partnerships, and the goal of us, our agency, is public safety and making sure that everyone's safe and working with victims, because I think victims, and coming from investigations, part of the things, victims aren't introduced in the criminal justice system as much as offenders. So I think that we work really well with them. One of the goals we'll be doing is expanding our victims advocate offices, working with the Commonwealth and county attorneys, making sure them smooth transition into the criminal justice system and helping them along, because I think we forget about victims a lot, because a lot of the justice system focuses on the offenders, and the victims are the ones that are victimized, so we want to make sure we're helping them.
Was this a goal you had since you joined the force, or is this something that as you've been with the agency decided you wanted to go for later on?
Something later on. You know, I truly say this, and that my wife, and we talk about it, I'm proud just to be a police officer. And it was an accomplishment for me in doing some of the things I've worked with within the agency. I loved investigations. I love special operations. I love patrol. I love those parts of the job. And this is really an accomplishment that you never really dream of, but you always work towards. So it's very humbling, and I'm very honored for it.
Before we finish up, it just struck me as we were sitting in this room, and so many of Mark's friends and the family's friends are here. It struck me as I was looking at this wall over here and these pictures. There's an extraordinary legacy of leadership in this department. And Mark said it already so well, that it's the officers that are here, and it's this legacy. It is this tradition, and that now he is leading. And what I also want to say about this guy is what I've observed over time is innovation and creativity and the discipline to think every day, you know, how are we going to improve today what we did yesterday? And that that follows in this long legacy of chiefs of this department. You know, I often say that politicians and elected officials will come and go, but it's a department like this with the institutional strength and muscle that stays and really defines our city. And so it's I've said it 2 or 3 times already, that it's a great privilege to make this swearing in, to do this swearing in today of Mark Martin. So I believe that you're going to be still available for the press when I'd say that you're 24/7 available for the press. All right. Is anything else?
I'm
All
good.
right.
Thank you all so
again.
much.
Thank everybody.